Hey guys, happy Wednesday. My name is Taylor. I put out new videos every week about random stuff that I want to talk about. And today I'm sitting in the dark. I got my ring light on behind me. And I wanted to share a few of my ghost stories that I've experienced in my life. And I also wanted to share a ghost story that my sister told me about one time that really gave me the heebie jeebies. My house is kind of messy. I haven't cleaned in a few days, so this is real life and I don't edit my videos, so you guys get it all. So if you like that kind of stuff, make sure you follow my channel. I'm hoping that the more I upload videos, I can figure out where this channel is gonna go in the future and whatever. So today I'm going to share some ghost stories that I've experienced. I know that a lot of people don't believe in ghosts, and that's completely fine. I get it. If you've never had a weird experience happen to you before where you questioned it and were like, what was that, I get it. But I have experienced some things, and um it's I might get the chills in this video because it's just creepy, but also at the same time it's cool. Um and I love hearing other people's ghost stories. I would love to hear some of y'all's if you've ever had any. Um or just like a weird thing. Like, it doesn't have to be a ghost thing, but like just something weird that happened to you one time that made you think, what was that? I don't know. So, the very first encounter that I can remember with like a ghost or a spirit, this kind of ties in with my last video about my childhood Ouija board experiences. In there, I talked about using a Ouija board with my friend Jillian, and the Ouija board was telling us we were talking to our guardian angels, which I honestly don't know if I believe that. They're probably demons. I don't know, but my guardian angel's name was Frank, or is Frank, I guess. I don't know. I don't recognize the name from like a grandparent or anything, so I have no idea if, like, I don't know. I can't tell you if Frank really is my guardian angel or if he's like a demon or just like fucking around with me. But anyway, one day when I was younger, I was probably like 10 years old, maybe even no, maybe I was a little bit older, because I'm trying to think when I first started using a Ouija board with my sister. I was probably around 10 years old. So maybe I was about 10 when this event happened. So when I was little, I was the youngest child of the family, and my parents divorced when I was 6. And my dad did get remarried twice, and he would have been in his second marriage, and I believe my dad and my stepmom at the time, I think they were at work. I don't know if it was like summer break from school or what, but it was during the day. I was home by myself and we lived out in the country. Um, maybe like 5 minutes out of town. We had 4 acres of land, and there was like a river behind our house and all this stuff. There were a few other houses in the area, so like we kind of shared the paths in the backyard. Um, but I was in the middle of nowhere basically, and I was home by myself. It was probably like early afternoon, and I remember, like I had done many times before, I was sitting on the couch in the basement because my room was in the basement, and I did have 2 older sisters, but my oldest sister was probably off at college. She wasn't around. And then my other sister, she's 7 years older than me, so she was probably like partying with her friends or something like that. So I was home by myself, and I was sitting downstairs and I was watching TV. I was probably watching Maury or Montel Williams or something like that. And I wasn't like doing anything. Um, I just remember watching TV, and in my the left view, so there's a staircase that would go upstairs on the main floor. And there were like 20 or 30 steps on the staircase. So there were a lot of steps. And the sun from the window upstairs would shine, and it would shine through the railings on the wall, right, where the stair is. So out of the corner of my eye, I saw a human figure walking across like a shadow on that wall where all the railings are. And I don't remember like hearing any footsteps, which me and my sisters, we have this inside joke because my dad's second wife, she would stomp on the floors. So like when people walked on the floors, you could hear it because they're wood floors. I didn't hear any footsteps. I just saw the shadow walk, and it wasn't like an adult shadow. It was like a child or like a early teen or something. And I think I probably immediately got the chills. And just like you see in horror movies, I walked upstairs, and because I thought, well, my stepmom must be home because that would be the only person that would be home. And I just thought it was weird because I didn't hear anybody come in. I didn't hear any footsteps or anything. And it didn't look like a normal adult shadow because obviously she had walked around up there when she was home, so I knew what her shadow looked like, and it didn't look like it. And so I go upstairs, and I'm like, hello? Is anybody home? And I thought maybe they were in the laundry room. And I checked the whole upstairs, and nobody was there. So that was my first experience with a ghost, maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think of that story? I wish I was lying, but I'm not. It was creepy, but I didn't feel like anything bad was gonna happen. So I don't have an explanation, except I do remember, I think I was with my friend Jillian, and we had used the Ouija board at her house on a different day, like later on. And I did ask, the spirits that we were talking to who that was, and they spelt out Frank's name. So it was just weird, creepy. I didn't see any other shadows. After that, I was scared that I was gonna like start seeing shadows all the time, but that didn't happen. So thank goodness. Thank goddess, as Queen Herbie would say. Do you guys listen to Queen Herbie? um so then what's another story? I want to save the best for last because I just think it's creepy but also really cool. So my sister, I'll tell her story. So when she was like early teens, she had gone over to a friend's house for like a sleepover. You know how you go to your friends' houses on like a Friday night and you're like, let's stay up as late as we can and do whatever we want to do, and you just kind of like experiment and do whatever, you know. Well, I wasn't there with her, so I'm just taking her word for this, but it does, I mean, she doesn't have any reason to like lie to me about this, and she still acts really weird about it. So she had gone over to a friend's house, and they had been playing light as a feather, stiff as a board. And if you don't know, oh, sorry, I just touched my ring light. If you guys don't know about this game, it's look it up, Google it. I'm sure there's information everywhere. But basically, one person lays on the floor and all the other people are like, kneeling or like sitting right next, around this person. And they have two fingers underneath, like if I was there, maybe I'd put it underneath her head, or, just a part of the person who's laying down underneath them. And you spread out evenly. And what's supposed to happen is, you close your eyes, all of you, and all the people that are kneeling down next to this person, they chant out, light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. And what it means is, eventually, like, the more you concentrate on this, you should feel their body lift by just, everybody's fingers holding on to them, and they're gonna feel light as a feather, stiff as a board. And I've played this game at friends' houses before, and it never works, probably because we didn't concentrate on it enough. I don't know if it's like a real thing, but my sister's laying there with her eyes closed, and she's like, this isn't gonna work. And all of a sudden, she feels somebody, I think she said it felt like it was where her friend Jen was sitting. She felt her swoop her up and like pick up my sister's body, And my sister's like, ha ha, Jen, put me down. I know you're fucking with me. And she said that she said that she opened her eyes and she looked around her, and everybody was backed up against the wall like this. And I can't remember if she said like she fell. She must have fallen. But apparently, I think she maybe like asked, maybe she was doing like the Ouija board with her friend Kelly or Jen or something, and she asked if, or who that was. And apparently the spirit said his name was William. And my sister's like, who's that? And the spirit said that he was her boyfriend. And honestly, I don't remember like any more of the details. But every time I mention the name William, my sister gets really like freaked out, and she's like, no, I don't want to talk about that. So I have no reason to believe she'd be lying to me about that, because she doesn't want to talk about it. But I thought that was very interesting. I think she told me another story about this William spirit another time, but I don't remember the story. Maybe one day I can get my sister on a video with me, and she can tell stories in her own words. I don't know. But I thought that was really interesting. Okay, so I have 2 more stories that I want to share. And I'm going to save the best for last. But this next one is actually, it makes me feel happy every time. So, but it also kind of makes me feel sad. So when I first moved into this house was built in 1880. It's an old house. And I moved in with my 2 cats, Whoopi and Walter. And Walter was my little baby. He would cuddle with me at night. We were inseparable. And he ended up getting kidney failure. So at the 2019, he started to get really sick. Maybe end of 2018 he started to, actually. And he was 7 years old, and he lost a lot of weight. Eventually he would really like stop eating, and he wouldn't drink water anymore, or like sometimes he would and sometimes he wouldn't. I don't know. But I ended up having to get him some special food, and I had to give him an IV with fluids every day, twice a day, to help him live a more quality life, and get him the fluids that he needs. And eventually he just couldn't hold on anymore, and I made the decision to put him down because it was clear that he was suffering. And he would start hiding in my closet, and he wouldn't come out, and that wasn't like him. If I was in the living room watching TV, he would he'd lay on the stairs and cry and cry. And it was hard. It was really heartbreaking for me to deal with that. I've never dealt with losing an animal that I was so close to, and he was so young, like it wasn't supposed to happen like this. But it did. And I had to put him down at the end of 2019, and it was emotional, everything. And I think about him all the time. I have like a little area with his ashes, an urn that I got for him, and like a picture and his collar and everything. And I still have his sister, Whoopi. Um, and I could tell that she missed him too. Like, sometimes he would climb into my dresser and he would lay in there if he was sick, and I would put like a heating pad on there, and he would just lay there. And after he passed away, Whoopi would go over there and she would lay in my dresser at the same spot, like she was like waiting for him. And it was really sad for a while. And then um I started to like feel him in the house with me still. And it doesn't happen that often, but sometimes like I'll feel an animal rub on my leg. And I do have 5 animals, but it's weird because I've had it happen a few times where I felt an animal rubbing on my leg and it felt like a cat. And I look down and I don't have any animals around me. So immediately I know it's my little Wally. And there have also been times where I've been at home with the animals and we're chilling on the couch, watching TV or TikToks or something, and the dogs will be like sleeping. They weren't being crazy or anything. The cats are like laying in their beds wherever they want to lay. And there have been a few times where I would hear like a creak on the stairs or a few creaks on the stairs, and I immediately think about Walter, and I know that it's him, and I know that I'm not going crazy because our bulldog, he would kind of look up like he heard it too. And I don't feel scared when that happens. I kind of feel like comforted because he's still around. Um, but it still kind of makes me sad because I think about him laying on the stairs crying all the time in pain and misery. Um, but he's just letting me know that he's not in pain anymore. So it's sad. I love hearing stories about people's animals that have passed and things that they have felt, to know that their animal's still around. It's so sad, but I love it so much. uh and the last story that I wanted to share with you guys. So when I was in my early 20s, I think I was like 20 until maybe 22, I moved in to this older house in the same town that I'm living in. And I moved in with my friend Wendy and her kids, and I dated her older son, but he wasn't really around very often. So I moved in with her, and she was renting this house from a coworker, and I know the coworker, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. If you rent from her and you get a better deal, then that's great, you know. I had my bedroom upstairs, and I actually had two of the bedrooms, and I'm just trying to like imagine the setup in the house. So you go upstairs and you walk straight up the stairs, and there's one bedroom, and then to the right is another bedroom that goes outside. And then all the way on the left side of the hallway is another bedroom, which was my friend's son's bedroom. And he didn't sleep there all the time. I think a lot of times he slept on the couch. And I don't think I really asked why. I just kind of tried to mind my own business and do my own thing, because Wendy was usually, she would get home pretty late, and I think I was going to school at the time too. So there was one night where I don't remember. I think I was sleeping in the middle bedroom. My bed was in that room. And so I'm laying there and I was sleeping. Something woke me up in the middle of the night. I don't remember what time it was in the middle of the night, probably after midnight. And it felt like there was an older man standing over me, like watching me. And it was weird because as it was happening, I want to say that like maybe I saw a figure, but it might have just been like the feeling, and I had like an intense feeling of an older man watching me sleep in the middle of the night. And I got scared because that had never happened to me yet before in that house. And I don't know how long I had been living there before this happened. But I must have said something to my friend. And she's like, yeah, my son feels something weird in his room. That's why he doesn't always sleep in there. And I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. Like, that's the first I've ever heard of, like, him having a weird feeling about being in that bedroom. And that was pretty much it. She was like, I don't know, maybe. And we had moved into a different house, and I think maybe 5 years had gone by, and I had an opportunity where I was going to get hired for a new job, and it's where I'm working right now. I do embroidery at a small business in my town. It's not my family business, it's a different family, but I work there. And there was another lady that also did embroidery, and it was okay, so it's kind of hard to explain. So the lady that is also the other embroiderer, she is the mom of this girl that I used to be really good friends with. We graduated together, and she had a second time job at a bar that my ex worked at. So I knew her. And she also was the owner of the house that I lived in with my friend, the old house. And I remember hearing that she sold it. And I was kind of talking to her about the house because we worked together and we would talk about different things all the time. Her and I, we talked about a lot of like paranormal things, and I love talking about that stuff. So we got into talking about how I used to live at the house that was her house, and she was telling me the story about the house. So this house, I don't remember if she said she lived in there too, but before my friend started renting it, her, my embroidery friend, her dad owned the house. And my friend, she would always go check on her dad and make sure he was doing all right. I think he had a wife, but I think she was crazy. And I remembered that I had this really weird experience in the house. And I was like, oh yeah, like one time it felt like, there was some older guy staring at me. And she says, well, that was probably my dad. And I got really freaked out. I probably got goosebumps like I have right now. And I explained to her what I saw. And I told her like what I felt, like the energy that I felt. And she said, my dad died in that house. I think he had like a heart attack or something. And he died in the kitchen. So, his spirit is still in that house. And to this day, I find it so crazy. I find it crazy because I had this experience and then I kind of forgot about it for a little bit. And then I got to talking about, with my friend whose dad lived in there. And she told me what happened. I mean, my mind was blown. It's pretty crazy. So, I don't know. I've been really thinking about spirits lately, and sometimes I think about my brother-in-law, and I think, maybe he's around. I have seen a couple cardinals the last few days, and I like to think maybe it's him or my grandma. But I don't know. I think it's cool to communicate with ghosts and spirits as long as you have like positive intentions, because otherwise I probably wouldn't feel safe. Sometimes I can feel like my spirit guides trying to communicate with me. Like there was a couple days where I felt really lucky, like in a different way than normal. Like, how you're like, oh, I'm feeling lucky, I'm gonna go to the casino. I actually have this different feeling, and I won at the casino. And then there was another day that I bought some lotto tickets because I just had this weird feeling, and I think I won $20 on the Powerball or something. So I don't know. And then there was this other time where I went to the chiropractor, and the lady was scheduling my appointment, and all of a sudden she said, because I had made an appointment for like April 4th, right after work, so like 4 p.m. And she's writing down on the reminder card, and she says, oh, 4 p.m., April 4th, 4 at 4 p.m. She said 4. Weird. And it clicked in my mind, and I thought, that's a sign. So then I looked it up, obviously, Google what, angel numbers mean. And it means that I'm, being protected by my spirit guides. And it was just really a good feeling to feel that and to have that happen, because I probably wouldn't have realized the 4s. I probably would have just put it up in my car, and maybe I would have realized it like if I glanced at it. But just her saying that was like, oh, this is something, you know? So, yeah, that's all I have to share. My ghost stories. I really hope you guys liked this video better than my last one, my Ouija board one. As I was making that video, I realized this might not be as interesting as I kind of intended it to be, but you know what? I'm just going with the flow, and any feedback is greatly appreciated as long as it is friendly. Yeah. I didn't do anything today, and I know I'm a little late on a video, but I'm just kind of going with the flow here, and I don't really have anything else to say. I'm almost done with one of my books, so look forward to a video about that. I'm gonna read some quotes from the book that resonated with me. So if you are interested in that, make sure you subscribe and you don't miss it. It's a book about trauma. It's an Oprah Winfrey book. So come on back if that sounds interesting to you. You might learn something. I know I have. I'm constantly learning and growing. So anyway, hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you later. Bye.